Beautifully illustrated book in addition to what's being said in the book, because it just shows the expression on the little girl's face. I can just see children loving reading something like this and having that little grandmother and sitting on the little grandmother's lap. So I commend you for this book. I can't wait to read it to my little grandchild when we sit at home together. Do you have plans for more books, LaRonda?
Yeah, actually there's another book in production called Humble Thyself, and actually features a Korean family, and the same underlying theme of diversity is in that book as well. And she kind of struggles with, she has a lot of gifts that God has given her, and you know, sometimes we can kind of be more about ourselves and doing those things for the Lord. So she gets kind of confused about what to do with all these wonderful things, these gifts that she has, and she tends to irritate people, and you know, because she has a little bit of arrogance. But she learns how to be humble and use those talents for God's purpose. So
how does she learn humility? Tell us how we do that.
Well, there was a boy that moved into town, and he was actually better at everything, you know, more than her. And so she kind of grappled with that. There were some issues with envy that she was kind of going through. And even though she was a Christian, she kind of struggled with that. And she learned from him because of the way he behaved and how he used his talents for the Lord, and how he didn't make it about himself, he made it about God. And she kind of learned how to do that as well.
You know, one of the things, just looking through the book here, and the first time I've had a chance to look at it, I don't know who your illustrator is, but he is a very talented...
Fabulous.
Victor Guiza.
And if you look at the pictures here, I mean, if you can get a shot of this guy's, the eyes, I mean, look how bright the eyes are and expressive, and as you flip through the book, all the people have bright eyes, big smiles, and that says something to children, too, at an early age. This book is about how to have happiness, too, and joy in your life. Did you purposely do that with the illustrator?
No, I mean, I gave him kind of a script of what I want the illustrations to look like, but he did use a lot of his own just talent and natural ability and how to make the children look. I did advise him about the expressions and stuff like that, but he really did an excellent job.
Well, and you've done a great job, too, crossing those racial barriers. The choir has all kinds of white children and black children, and so that's very important for our children to see as well. Before we came on the air today, Ken, we were talking to our makeup artist. Yes, this happens for a reason. I'm not able to come to work looking like this. But she was saying that she had dolls as a little girl. One doll was an African-American doll, one doll was a white doll, and one doll, she took the arm off so that the little girl could be compassionate toward others who might have physical handicaps. That's what I'm reading too in this book, that you're making sure that the reader sees all kinds of diversity.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because in the second book, the boy who has all these talents is actually in a wheelchair. And it's never focused, his disability is never focused on, but it's just kind of another...
But it's there.
Yes.
Yes, and it's a part of life.
Yes.
Good.
You know, it seems like there's been a real focus in the last year, even the last 6 months, if you think about it, with the election, with diversity in our country. When you look at the Olympics, all the diversity in the Olympics itself, and even here in Central Florida, our culture has changed tremendously now with a great and tremendous Hispanic community here. And I speak very kindly of them, because you know, they have become such an important, integral part of our community here in Central Florida. And I think all of us are learning diversity. That's why a book like this is important, so that we can start teaching at a very young age about the importance of respect for all cultures, and also those children that do have handicaps.
Yeah, and I think it's great if we can see each one of us as an image of God, then that'll kind of, will transcend and will rise above those differences.
It'd be nice if we didn't have to talk about it so much. We didn't have to say that child's skin is brown or that child's skin is yellow or white. If we could just say that's just the way it is, you know, and not to always make a big issue of it. But right now, because of where we are in our culture, it does have to be talked about. LaRonda, we heard that you're donating the funds from this book to a certain ministry. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. For each book sold, $1 will be donated to Compassion International's Unsponsored Children's Fund. And what Compassion International do, they provide assistance to children living in poverty around the world, and they even help ministries here in the U.S. And they also have other things like church services, and they deal with the local churches. So they do a lot of great work around the world. And the Unsponsored Children's Fund is a fund for children who don't have a sponsor, or who have unfortunately lost a sponsor due to their inability to continue to give them funds. So,
what made you decide to do that?
I love Compassion International. Actually, I've been sponsoring, me and my husband, we sponsor a child for the past 3 years. And we've seen the difference that it's made in her life, just from the letters, reading her letters, how she's just developed. And she's developed in Christ, and she has health care, and she has an education. Her language is getting better, how she's writing. So it's just a wonderful thing.
That is wonderful. I have a question for you about your spiritual walk. Since you have a heart for children, I wonder if you received Christ at a very young, tender age, or when did that happen for you?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I always felt like I knew Christ, but you know, you go through different stages in life, and you start to wonder, you know, do I really know Christ? Am I really, you know, doing the right thing? Am I really saved? So I can't really give you a time frame, but I know that God has always kind of had his hand over me throughout my life. So.
Well, that's very scriptural, because it talks about that right hand of God on our lives.